Welcome to the Juniper Tree Podcast. Here we are, Black History Month, another amazing story. And we got Sister Jackie Thompson with us again today, who done an amazing job doing your presentation. And man, every time I see you, I just smile. And you're always such a joy to have. But today you did something amazing, and you came here and you shared the story of Mignon, is that right?
Mignon,
Mignon
yes.
Baker Richmond.
Barker.
Barker.
Richmond.
Barker Richmond.
Yes.
Mignon.
What an awesome name.
Oh, wow.
Oh, we're so
Well,
excited
thank
and so proud.
But I just
Well,
want to
thank
tell you,
you.
I am one of the hosts here, Pastor Chris Young, and I am going to introduce my other co-host. Have you wait?
Hello, I'm Miriam, and I'm so proud to have you back. Last time you were with us, you did Miss Bessie Coleman.
Yes.
Yes, the first Afro-American licensed woman pilot in the USA. But today you bring us another gift, and that is history of Utah. So what a blessing it is. And I heard in her commentaries that she was outstanding in her dressing. She dressed graciously and beautifully, and you did not disappoint us today in your presentation
Amen,
and your
yeah.
dress and everything else.
Looks amazing. Look amazing.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. What a beautiful lady we're going to be discussing today.
Thank you. I'm
And
so happy to
yes.
be here. Thank you, Sister Miriam and Pastor Young. I'm always full of joy when I come to be with you. To God alone be the glory.
Thank you. That's
Good,
so
good.
kind.
So
Now,
encouraging.
I want to find out about why, because we had another lady in mind, but you changed and said, I want to do this lady. I want to know why, and also I want to, because now I realize that not only are you an educator, but you are a presenter of the history of the black people, but also you're a writer. I'm so excited about that. I saw a content, and in there you were talking about the book. So tell us about your book first.
Oh, yes, Kate. And then you asked why also I changed. Well, today I was at Hill Air Force Base Chapel, and I was going to do for you Wilma Rudolph, the Olympian,
correct.
but I had done her last year at Hill Air Force Base, so I was dressed as Mignon, and it was easier to transition over from one service to the other as Mignon.
Right.
Okay.
Awesome, awesome.
But,
Well, we're not disappointed.
thank
We're
you.
glad.
I-
And maybe there's another time that we're going to be the other lady. Yes.
Oh, yeah, we would love for you to
Yes,
meet Wilma
absolutely.
Rudolph. So the book is called Champions of Change.
Showing the screen.
Okay, 25 women who made history. This is written by Naomi Watkins and Dr. Catherine Kitterman, and they are with the program Project Better Days 2020. So a couple years ago, as we were getting ready for the 150th celebration of women in Utah, having the first women to be able to vote was in Utah. Wyoming had the right to vote first, women there, but we got to the polls first. So a woman named teacher, educator, Sarah Young, she went and she cast the first vote in Utah. So
that's
this book
exciting.
is full of amazing
so we have a lot of
stories.
firsts in Utah, right?
A lot of first. I was asked to
Okay.
write the story on Mrs. Mignon Barker Richmond. I was honored to do that. My friend Dr. Kathleen Christie, she was honored to be able to write the book on, let's see now, that was in Salt Lake City. She wrote the story of some of the outstanding people there. But then we also hear stories of Native American and Asian American, European American, Pacific Islander women. And so we'll hear those stories as well.
That is awesome because someone asked me, are you going to be doing other stories? And I say, yes, as soon as we find the people.
Yes.
Yes, we're looking for those people that have wonderful stories that to tell the heritage of others.
Yes.
But today we're focusing on Black history, and so
And may I
was
add?
amazed.
Okay, I'll add, it was Alberta Henry that Kathleen Christie does. Alberta Henry, who was an outstanding educator in Salt Lake School District and NAACP president that made such an outstanding change in our state. So Dr. Kathleen Christie writes her story. You'll be hearing, and we'll be coming out with another book with additional stories in it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. All right. So, she was the first to attend and graduate from a University of Utah, right? In Utah.
Yes.
Now, in the prominent women in Utah history, we see the story of hope, of courage, of service, and inspiration and faith. And one of the things that really amazed me in the description of this wonderful lady, Miss Mignon Barker Richmon, is that she was a real Christian. Now, Pastor, my wild card.
I thought you threw that thing away.
No,
You know?
You have a wild card. That's neat.
So,
My
I
wild
share
card.
this. I told her when we first started podcast, just for those who are listening and wondering, what is up with this wild card? I brought her in to be the wild card. As
Yes.
pastor, sometimes I can't say certain things.
That's right.
And I can't say certain things a certain way. But she is the wild card. She's the one that can begin to, and that's where that comes from. So when she pulls out her wild card, I get nervous.
That's a time to pray.
All right.
I have fun with my questions.
Oh, this is
Because
fun.
those are the questions that real people have, in their minds. So, isn't it sad that someone has to be described as real Christian?
Mhm.
Because, see, as Christians,
Wow. Yeah.
that should tell the whole story. Because the reason why the first believers were called Christian was because they were like Christ. They
Yes.
talked like Christ. They
Yes.
walked like Christ. They acted like Christ. And they gave like Christ. So for people to come into the church and be calling themselves Christians and yet not acting like Christ, not believing like Christ, and not talking like Christ, there is a problem. But in this lady, publicly, they call her a real Christian. What an honor that was. Can you tell us some examples of this? I know that they also call her gracious and a great, good sense of humor. And it is so great that she compares herself with another story. She said, you're not going to doubt me. You're not going to make me feel ugly. I am going to bring the best and compare myself to the best.
Yeah.
I love that. So,
I love
Pastor,
it.
real Christians.
And I say this, I think it's the example that she lived. I think typically when we look at people for real Christians, we don't typically look at those who just talk a good game.
That's right.
Those who can preach well, those who actually show it. And if we didn't get a chance to really ever see her perform ever in life, her story tells of her belief, right? To take 27 years
Isn't
before
it?
you to first go to school
Yes.
The
against all the
sacrifice.
odds
Oh,
that are
yes.
already there,
Absolutely.
being that she is a woman,
Mhm.
being that she is black.
And this
Yes.
in the 1800s that she was born.
She went back to
Yes.
school.
Yes.
That shows right there that you believe in something. You have some
Determination.
type of vision. You have faith because
Yes.
you're pursuing after what you believe.
Absolutely.
Not only that, 27 years. Now, the one song that we sung today, Sister Jackie,
Yes.
was "Wait."
Yes.
Wait on the Lord.
wait on the
Wait on
Lord.
the Lord.
Right.
Wait on the Lord. Now, I don't know about you, but whenever I see somebody sitting there and you ask them, what you doing? I'm just waiting on the Lord, right? It's almost like the old lady who sits at the bus stop.
Yes.
And even though the bus is late, she's never worried. She
No.
sits there and she says, I know it's coming, right?
Right,
And
right.
I see here that that patience and that what is needed to be a Christian, to sit back, to realize that even though you're not operating in it right now,
Yes.
that you can have the faith and believe it's coming. And when she came, the story that I read was that she was the cafeteria lady and she loved kids.
Yes,
and
she
she
did.
set up things for kids to come and grow. And she even gave them access to her own personal library and books.
Yes.
That she can. So she was really about pushing this. And here's the key. Here's what real Christians do.
I'm excited.
Y'all ready?
I am too,
You ready?
Sister Mary.
Real Christians perform.
Amen.
They do.
Amen.
Faith without works is dead.
Oh, yes.
You want to see the Christian with faith, watch his works.
Right, right.
Because
Right.
you see him operate in his faith. And the one thing we see how Miss Richmon here is she operated in her faith. and she stood the course. And that just go to tell anybody, I don't care where you are right now, and I'm going to preach to them for a minute.
please
I don't care what is
Amen.
going on. I don't care if you went to school and you're not operating in that field. If you can just trust and believe God and wait on him, and sure enough, before it's all said and done, just like Miss Barker Richmon here shows us that God will show up before it's over.
Right.
Yes,
But
it's
can
in fact-
can we imagine for a second going through the sacrifice, investing in a career, doing it, standing, being laughed at, being pushed down, be a teacher instead of encouraging her is putting her down, right? I mean,
Yes.
come on,
Can
people.
you imagine?
You-
she is, so we're talking about not just a black lady, but we're talking about a black lady in Utah.
Yes.
Back in, what is this, 19, what did they say?
She was.
She was born in
Early
1897, and then went to college in
She graduated
1917,
in 1921.
and graduated in 1921. And I believe if Miss Mignon Barker Richmon was here with us today, she would say, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall mount up with wings as eagle." They will run, they will not faint, they will walk and not get tired. She gonna run. She ran on. My brother Dwight used to always say that God may not come when you want him.
Yeah.
He said he says seldom when you want him to be there. She says he's always on time but never late. And he's never late. And so with Mignon, her early childhood, she was brought up in the church. Remember, she said her and her family went to church, to Calvary Baptist Church, and we knew it was a very nurturing environment, a community where she felt warm and welcome. So I would venture that she would journey back from Utah State and be with that church family, her church family. But she knew that she could do all things through Christ that strengthened her. And that's why she was able to endure. But she was working while she was waiting. That's what you said, Pastor Young and Sister Mary. She was working while she was waiting. And so her time was yet to come.
Preach, brother.
It was to come. Yes.
One of the
Yeah.
things, one of the
What to
things
do
that we
when you're
have-
waiting, yeah?
Yes, that's it. What to do when you're waiting. Wait on the Lord.
One of the things that is fascinating to me is that this lady never gave up. 27 years to wait. I mean, you invest in your education, you endure everything, ridicule, racism, put downs and everything else, and you cannot work in your profession. You had to, after graduating from the university, and yet you have to sit there and you can, and then when she was hired to do cleaning. Oh my God, in her degree at the level of university. That's how bad racism is. I wish it could be dispelled, but unfortunately we still have it in our society. But the wonderful thing is that she never gave up.
Never
That
gave up.
endurance of 27 years. Man, she would probably have the best reason. No, I already did my best. I already did this. I already sacrificed. I did everything, and nothing is happening. Therefore, I'm not going to do anything. But that's not the lady we're talking about. She has a different spirit.
She had a
And I would
different
tell you
spirit.
that I think those milestones are always great to highlight.
Absolutely.
And I think that these are the reasons why we highlight her, because she was the first of many things and she showed it. But I want to highlight something else here that I noticed. Is that she operated as the lunch lady
She
in
started
Utah.
she started the program.
serving food. Now,
The
you
program.
got to know this is a real Christian.
Oh,
a
yes.
real Christian. Because the same people that oppressed, talked about it, didn't
Yes.
accept her,
Uh-huh.
she set up programs to
For
feed their kids.
Yes.
Amen.
And she did it every day in spite
love.
of. And she
Yes.
recognized that even though they may have treated her
Oh, Lord,
all the way bad,
Yes.
she never, well, based on her lifestyle and the things, you can see where she didn't, repay them the way they treated her. She
Exactly
absolutely turned around and set up an amazing program for them that
To
they
bless
was fed.
others,
Yeah.
not
Yeah, to
just the
bless
black
others.
people, to bless others. And
Yeah.
that's what love is.
Yeah.
You don't make a
And
separation between
I got
colors.
in Utah in 2012. In 2012, I looked it up and it said they had 1.5% of black people in Utah in 2012.
Yes.
Can you imagine what the percentage was then? and she's having to operate and
Yes, and elevate
push
herself.
past the glass
The
ceilings
pain,
and bust
the
past
pain.
all the things, the boundaries that was hindering her, and still do this with the heart
grace.
of Christ.
Yes.
What?
With faith.
Was nothing
Yes,
but God.
sadly,
Nothing
Oh, yeah.
but
You know,
God.
and her life was not easy.
No.
Look at the history of the parents. Her mother is an English woman.
Yes.
So I imagine that she was properly trained, you know, properly dressed. I can imagine that environment,
yes.
right? Of an English mother, you know, with having tea and having all of these
Yes.
special things. And yet, her father is sacrificed, really. The father was born into slavery.
Yes, he was.
Right, right. Not only that, he escapes, goes and serves the nation,
Yes.
okay? Goes and serves his country. But he's captured and turned back into his owner. Isn't that cruel?
It is so.
Isn't that horrible that we
It's-
could not honor that veteran, that person that fought for the country? Right?
Exactly right. And it shows
So
you
painful.
her father's determination, because he get captured and he'd escape again.
Yes, and that's
And
when
the-
he came to Utah.
And that's
to
when he
make
came
a
to
new-
Utah,
to make
crossing
a new
over
life.
to make a
Right.
new life, to make a
Yes,
new
yes.
life, and wanted things better for his
And that's when
children.
he met his wife.
Met
the
his
English.
wife, and Mignon had a sister named Mary who looked up to her as well. And so you see that. You see her nieces and nephews still live in Utah today.
Yes,
And
I
they are
saw
proud
that.
of their Aunt Mignon. They provided a
should
lot of the
be.
pictures for the slideshow. Her one niece is named after Mignon, and she lives in Georgia and is married to a pastor. So
Oh,
they
okay.
this is where I got the rich history from, not only from Utah history and
From
Utah
the-
State, but a
From
special
the
thanks to the
relatives,
families,
mouth to mouth, right?
to the families that keep the legacy going.
Right, right. So it is amazing to me. Now, this lady, not only is she involved in the community at a practical level, okay? She is taking care of the kids, she's doing the lunches, but she's also, and this is fascinating to me, she's also involved as a human rights activist. She participates in the NAACP, which is National Association for the
Advance-
Advancement of Colored People. So she is in the political arena as a woman, as someone that has not been given a status, and yet she's fighting. She has the heart to help and change things, okay? She is doing in the community center. I was fascinated also because she was doing also helping the Jewish community.
Yes.
And
Oh, yes.
she was very active in her church.
Yes, she was.
But she didn't stop there. She even was active with the Catholics.
Mhm.
So she saw no boundaries, okay?
None.
I mean, you know, she joined arms with the Christian community, with the Jewish community, you know, and she was absolutely an amazing woman.
Yes.
I loved it. She worked with kids, she worked with women, she helped serve them. She worked with the women that came back from the war,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yes.
So, yes, it's an absolutely wonderful lady. She volunteered at the Red Cross.
She volunteered at the Red Cross and
Yes, the
YWCA.
YWCA and LDS Hospital. I mean, here, come on, ladies. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this lady is wonderful. See, at the time that I'm sure blacks were not seeing well, she's serving the white people, okay? She is serving everyone.
Everyone.
She's putting no stops. Children, women, veterans, you know, civil rights activists. She is busy.
She is busy.
Yeah, and in her life, she was married twice, right?
Yes, she was married twice.
Right.
The first time she was married in 1925 to Frank Smith.
Okay.
Now, when that marriage ended, it would be December 5th, 1933, when she remarried That's when she married Thomas White Richmon. And so she said he was her best friend.
Oh,
And so that's
those
why
are
I
the
think
best
she was able to,
marriages.
the best marriage, that's why she was able to blossom and to
Right.
go forward and do all the things that she could. You have someone wonderful by your side, believing in the vision. I feel fortunate too because of my husband Ed
Yeah, and
being
we
by
have him
my
here
side,
today.
yes.
He's
And
always with
you have
right?
someone with you, you know,
Right.
whether it be sister, brother, husband, mother, father, people going along with you,
Right.
working toward that vision of a beloved community, the betterment of all of us. It is just huge. And Dr. King said everybody can be great because everybody can serve, that you just need a heart full of love and grace. And that's what she had.
Yeah.
That's what Mrs. Mignon Barker Richmond had.
Absolutely. We're so excited to have been to be doing this, okay? Now, you touched something in my, that makes a lot of sense. It is the desire, Pastor and I, that the next focus for the podcast is going to be on families.
Great. That is wonderful.
Yes.
Really
Because
wonderful.
we want to help the families become better,
Yes.
to be healed, to be there for each other. And so I am glad that you mentioned that with this husband, the second husband that she had, she was able to blossom.
Yes,
She was able to do what God designed her to do and be because she had someone pushing her, saying, yes, you're great. Yes, you can do it. And there is nothing better than having a couple, that believe in each other and that they're helping each other and they're loving each other and that they're encouraging each other. So it is our desire, right, Pastor, that we do develop that kind of relationships at home because the homes are hurting, And so women cannot flourish and men cannot flourish and we are divided. But what a wonderful story, your story. Maybe you can come and visit us, and tell us what makes your marriage work.
Oh, I'd be honored to do that. And I wanted to let you know, too, that we'll be inviting you with our Davis School District Interfaith partnership, that we're going to be meeting with the interfaith community because we know it takes a village to raise a child. So we're going to be meeting with all of those within our community from the various beautiful religious backgrounds to say, what can we do together to, make our homes, strengthen our homes, our community, our school district. We work in partnership right now with First Lady Abby Cox, Commissioner Bob Stevenson, and then the base commander, the outstanding Colonel Janice Carroll, because we know that Hill Air Force Base is the largest employer in the state of Utah, and that the military families sacrifice their lives on a daily basis to protect and to serve all of us so that we have the best schools and the best community welcoming for all of us, and freedom.
Yes,
and
freedom to do, freedom to speak,
and freedom to speak,
act, freedom to choose, even though so many laws right now are trying to curb that. They're telling us what to do, what to wear, what to put in our bodies, what medications to take and what not, but yet we have the freedom. And yes, those people, those beautiful military people, the veterans that sacrifice themselves, sacrifice their families, so that we can have that right to speak and do and be. Yes, so it is amazing. Now, this lady, my goodness, at 13 years old, she's working. And she's working not in a glamorous job. She's a private housekeeper. And with that money, she goes back to school.
Yes.
See, we have to understand that little sometimes is much. Whatever God puts in our hands, if we start taking faith, one step at a time, one little step, that little God can bless into much and can keep on producing. Sometimes we would like to have a lot to start, but it is not, okay? Because God uses our faith. And with faith, we please God.
Amen.
And that's the only way to do it. So never, never underestimate your little. Because that little, remember the 2 mites of the woman?
Yes.
Many, many rich people were giving large amounts of money while Jesus standing in a synagogue, and he was nearby. He's watching everyone. He's noticing, and he's reporting.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
I saw the rich people giving. But there was one lady where her heart, she gave 2 little mites.
Mm-hmm.
She gave it all.
She gave it all.
And that is so important. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, we were discussing giving, and Pastor made it very clear to us, the leaders, that it doesn't matter how much you give.
That's right.
What is important is the attitude, the heart to give. Pastor, you can tell us a little more about that.
Amen. The heart to give.
You got to check us out. Come to our service. I'll preach on giving.
Oh, yes, I'm going to have to come to
I
the
don't
service.
want to get
I mean,
excited
like
and go to preaching right now. I'm really trying to compose myself over here and not hog up all this mic because I'm really excited right now. But here's the okay, let's get focused. I want to know
yes, sir.
if you had any last things that you want to share, because you did choose not to go with Wham or Rudolph. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Temporarily.
Another accident.
Temporarily.
Yeah.
Temporarily. I thought it was, you know,
Today.
today.
Just today only.
Yeah, today only, because it was easier coming from the Hill Air Force Base, and so I did Wilma. I was honored to do Wilma this week for the we were at the Salt Lake Chamber, and you know they believe in, and their cause is to help eradicate polio, and so Wilma had polio at age 4.
Yep, I
And when
remember
she
that.
was 9, the brace came off of her leg. And when she was in high school, she was 6 feet tall, and she played basketball. And then she went on to run track for Coach Ed Temple, which is now Tennessee State University, and age 16. She was the youngest member of the track team to go to the Olympics in Melbourne, Australia. And when she was 20, she went to the Olympics, and that's where she got the 3 golds in Rome, Italy, because she was patterned after her hero, Jesse Owens, who had been to the Olympics in 1936. So I had to refocus, memorize my Wilma. And so yesterday, and I did Wilma yesterday at Mountain High School on Friday, actually. And so I was on Wilma track, on that track, had the track shoes on, running for Wilma. And so I knew that I had done Wilma at Hill Air Force Base probably the year before. So now I was going to do Mignon Barker Richmon, a Utah woman.
That's good.
So I said, now I'm on to Mignon for today. And I'll do Wilma again at the end of the month. So I'll do different. But just to keep everything straight, you know, even thinking about my own life story, I've got to think about when their parents were born and who their siblings were. So just keeping it straight, I thought today will be a Mignon Barker Richmon Day, an outstanding Utah woman, and then I will come back and I will prayerfully do Wilma the justice that she deserves. But I thought just transitioning from that service over to this one, and my mindset, it will be Mignon Barker Richmon.
Yes,
Yes.
and to all our friends, you know, she does presentations, so the only thing you have to do is invite her.
Yes.
Yes, and
I'd
she does
be
many
honored.
characters, beautiful characters.
And
I'm so happy that you chose Mignon
The Utah
today,
lady,
because
yeah.
she is a Utah person who came and set and paved the way for a lot of other black people. But and the reason why I'm so happy you chose that, because she's not the only woman that I know that has come and paved ways.
Right.
One of our very own Jackie Thompson, if you don't know it, she was one of the first black assistant superintendents to be hired here in Utah. Did you know that?
Yes, I knew that. I know that my friend Dr. Kathleen Christie was hired, and she's my mentor in Salt Lake City School District. And so she is a positive. She's my shero, so I follow in her footsteps.
Yeah.
And so she was in Salt Lake, and then I was in Davis School District, hired to do that very same thing.
Good.
And then I have to tell you, too, that because of Miss Mignon Barker Richmon, she opened the door. So when I got my doctorate, I graduated from Utah State in 2010. Because of her, in the spirit of Ubuntu, I am because she was. And so I look at that, and we are, you know, because of others that have gone on before us.
And the truth is, you do a lot.
Yes.
With-
I'm
Which-
shocked. And
yeah,
you
which-
and I want to highlight you.
Yes, oh, thank you, sir. Well,
Please
As
do,
one of the
Pastor.
first blacks here in for Davis County to be hired as, and that is something to be highlighted. And not only do you not just go around and spread black history and through demonstration and many other forms,
She
you
lived.
actually is an educator.
Yep.
You've returned back after
Return
being
back.
retired, and you are very much part of the legislation here, and you're involved in all that. Can you tell us a little bit?
Oh, yes, so that's exciting. So I don't do it by myself. My friend, Miss Correa Long, always reminds me, she works with me, reminds me of the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So
like
with
that.
the outreach that we do with the Black History Characters, it started in 1988 at Hill Air Force Base. We were a part of the community, Hill Air Force Base African American outreach. And so we had so many outstanding people. I'm afraid to say all their names in case I miss some, but I'm thinking of Elder Henry McAllister and Joseph Smith and Carolyn Smith and Sister Denise Elbert. So many, Miss Katie Scott, that we would portray famous African Americans. We would go into hundreds of schools, libraries, churches. We would encourage students stay in school, get an education, good education, say no to drugs, alcohol, and violence. But now today, I'm working with our Ethnic Studies Coalition, and we've been in place for 2 years. It happened, it was shortly after that brutal murder of George Floyd that we all came together to say, we have to do more. What more can we do?
What
And there was a black educator named Miss Yvonne Sabina, and she said, Dr. Jackie, can we teach black history in our schools? And I said, that sounds great. At the same time, my mentor, Dr. Kathleen Christie, was working with Representative Sandra Hollins. And she said, we're thinking the same thing. So we combined our effort. And then we thought, you know what? Other people of other diverse, beautiful backgrounds would love their stories told. So we said, let's change it to ethnic studies, where it include all of us, Native American, African American, White American, Pacific Islander, Latino, all of us. And so we work with Representative Hollins and now with Senator Kurt Cullimore to get an ethnic studies bill passed. We're waiting for it to get numbered. And what we want is for K-12 standards at the State Board of Education to be infused with ethnic studies. Well, we want to help our teachers. They are doing a fantastic job, but they cannot teach what they do not know, so we want money for teacher training as well. So that will happen at the state legislature, then at the State Board of Education. That will be with the standards. And then once that bill is passed, we will then have the school districts will look at the curriculum. They'll get to decide on that, but we'll have some of that developed as well, so that every child sitting in the classroom will be proud to learn their history. It's Black History Month. The black boy or girl that looks up and sees the clock designed by Benjamin Banneker, first clock made in America, and to be proud to know that he helped with the Farmer's Almanac, the first one, and that he designed Washington, D.C. He did. He was with a Frenchman that had the designs, and he memorized those. When the Frenchman did go home, Benjamin Banneker had that type of memory, and he continued that work on, built based upon the great work that the Frenchman had done as well, so that when Native Americans sit in the classroom and they hear the contributions of their ancestors, and when all of us here,
They receive an identity.
they receive an identity, they could be proud.
They
all
can
of
be proud.
and all of us can be proud of the contributions that all of us had made.
Made
It
to
makes
America.
made made
the
to
USA.
America, and makes history more exciting
Yeah,
and real
rich.
and alive and rich. And so for that, we're grateful. Let me say, pray with us as we're waiting during this legislative session. We know that with God, all things are possible. We said this bill will pass. We know it will. It was announced. We thank Ms. Janetta Williams at Salt Lake NAACP at her Martin Luther King luncheon on Dr. King's holiday. The announcement was made.
Now,
We did go to the Capitol, and they had a press release right there as well
That's
about the Ethnic
wonderful.
Studies Coalition bill.
Now,
ethnic
Now, is
studies
that
bill.
Dr. Thompson, go ahead,
Is
but
that something new to Utah? Is that something other states have adopted as well?
Yes, other states, we look to Illinois, Indiana, California, Florida, Connecticut. We thank our good friend Lee. She did research for us. Our committee did research. And when we looked across the nation and saw where it was and saw it was ethnic studies, we said, this works. We think we'll go. So we did the background and the research. So unique to Utah, but not to the rest of the country. We're always looking to see what California, Florida, Texas,
Right.
and others are doing throughout our nation.
So
Doc-
that's
Dr.
another,
Thompson,
just
yeah.
real quick, that's
Okay.
another first for you.
Yes,
You,
with
you
the-
helped create the first ethnic studies for the Davis County, or is it for Utah together?
for
Utah.
the state of Utah, along with educators and parents, students, and
surprised.
community
That's amazing.
coming together.
Yeah.
NAACP partnering with us and working with those throughout the state of Utah, from as far as, oh my goodness, St.
Yeah.
George, all the way up to Logan, across the state, saying that this truly is a need. So we've been meeting on a regular basis for about 2 years now.
Right,
Yes,
right,
that's a
right.
blessing. God is great.
Yeah,
God
yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
Dr.
Yes.
Thompson, I must ask, what can we do to support that ethnics coalition? What can the regular listener who's sitting at home
Okay.
do to make sure that this
Yeah,
bill
they want to show
passes?
support or something.
Yeah.
Yes, so to show support, please let your neighbors know about it, those you fellowship with. Write your legislatures and call them. Tell them that this is so needed, that it is our commonality that brings us closer together, but it is our diversity that enriches them. Let them know, too, that in our great state of Utah, we are becoming more and more diverse. In 2002, during the Winter Olympics, the world found out that we were here. We welcomed the world in. We want to have continue to have a welcoming community. We want to say no more, not here, as the video series that we have put out with our children after the Department of Justice had come in and found discrimination. We said, we can do better, and we will do better. We want all of our children to feel safe, valued, loved, and respected, not only in the classroom, but in the community, that they have the greatest potential and opportunities to reach and achieve their goals. They are our present and our future. And so what they do and achieve make our world better. And so again, tomorrow, listeners, our website will be up and running, actually this morning, and it's the No More, Not Here video series that will be featured the second Monday it was from January, and it will go to May. It is our student voices along with our educators coming together. Tomorrow's video will feature our superintendent, Reed Newey. We're proud of that, with the children's voices and the educator voices. And here we want to say, no more, not here. But we do appreciate your support with the Ethnic Studies Coalition Bill. We feel that that is necessary, that is needed, that when we recognize the contributions of all of us, then our children can look at each other with pride and say, we all are somebody. Dr. King said, never let anyone tell you that you are nobody, that your somebodyness is where your greatness comes. So when we recognize those contributions, and we know that slavery is one page in the encyclopedia of African and African Americans' greatness, that we come from great kings and queens, and that we have a long, rich heritage, and they recognize and can see that, then they'll look at our children and us differently. We'll look at one another differently, that we all contribute, that we're all
Love each
members.
other.
Love one another.
Right.
We're all
Respect
members.
each other.
Respect each other.
Recognize each
Recognize
other. See
each
the
other.
king and queen in us.
See the king and the
And
queen in
queen.
each and every
Everyone,
person.
Every time.
And love your neighbor as yourself.
Right.
Love your neighbor. I love what you have up on the walls.
Yes,
Love the
that's
Lord your
Pastor's
God with
vision.
all your heart and all your soul and all your mind and with all your strength. Love your neighbor as yourself.
Yes.
God is love. I tell you, when we come together as a community, a beloved community, There is nothing that we cannot do. We can do all things through Christ who strengthened us.
Yes, yes. You're such a blessing, sister.
You guys
Oh
are a
my
blessing.
goodness.
You
know,
are a
yeah.
blessing.
I'm going to share something with you.
Okay.
This Friday, our youth is going to visit the Capitol.
Yay.
And we'll make sure that we mention this ethnics coalition bill.
That'd be
You know,
so
we'll
great.
bring it to their attention as the youth group goes and visits them. Because we're interested in having our kids know their rights. See, Paul was being sent to Rome, right?
Yes.
But then, you know, they discovered that he was a Roman. And therefore, they shouldn't have beaten him up and put him in jail. So they
That's
want to,
so right.
you know, scoot it under the rug and said, oh, go, 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 go. He said, no. No. I want to be heard. Why? Because he knew the law. He knew his place.
Oh, yes.
He knew what, you know, the Constitution of that at that time read. He knew his rights. So, therefore, I think it is important that the churches participate, that the churches be alert, that they have it here, that they hear, and they voice the need for sound bills, for sound laws, for godly people in place, so that we can all live in peace. But also, I loved what you said. Jump over the hurdles. Service to others is a rent we pay for living on life. Count your blessings, one by one. Do it all. Do it for all the people. What motivates for you to say all of those beautiful things?
Well, I think I stand upon the shoulders of those that have gone on before me. And so I've heard some of those quotes by Marion Wright Edelman from the Children's Defense Fund, and from Shirley Chisholm, who was the first African American to run for president in the 1970s. I've heard it through the scriptures. I know that that's what Christ believes and feels, you know, to love one another, to serve one another. He truly, Christ is a servant leader, that we serve one another. And so much so that he began to wash his disciples' feet, and they said, Lord, we are not worthy. We are not worthy. But he explained to them that that's what he must do. That's what he needed to do. By example. So that we would have that good example and do that for one, for who they say the least of us is the greatest. That's the price.
See, the beautiful thing about Jesus is that he didn't say, do this. No, he modeled it for us. And he modeled it in humility. Because if you want to be a leader, you have to serve.
Yes.
You have to be the one doing, okay? And someone said, if you don't serve others, then you don't have the right to be served either, okay? And you don't have the right to lead others, because the leader truly serves the community, the church, the family. Be a servant, and then you'll be fine.
That's right.
So, love you, Dr. Thompson. We are so proud to have you back with us again.
Thank
You are an encyclopedia of information.
Oh.
You are so in touch what we're doing, what this state should be. And I commend you for that.
Man.
Well,
Because
thank
then
you.
we can learn from you. And this is an avenue for Juniper Tree Church to share the wonders, the miracles, the models, the ones that inspire us. And you are in that category.
Amen.
And so it's an honor to share you with the whole world. Hello, world.
Well,
We're
hello,
here with
world.
Dr. Jackie
Yeah.
And
Jackie Thompson,
Amen.
who is an educator, who is involved in legislation, who is a teacher at heart, and that he is serving us with her whole heart. And what a beautiful thing it is to be a real Christian.
wow, well, thank you. Thank you, Pastor Young and Sister Miriam. I say, praise God from whom all blessings flow. It is an honor to serve with you here at Juniper Tree. And it's just an honor as we do it together. Remember, if we want to go fast, we'll go alone. If we want to go far, we're going to go together. So we choose to go together.
Amen.
Yes.
It's good. I'm
Pastor?
blessed. I'm truly blessed. I didn't know that we was amongst greatness
Oh.
like this.
You
Didn't-
are
didn't-
great.
And the truth is, and I'm serious, is that as I read about Mignon Baker Richmon,
Yes.
she was amazing
Oh,
woman.
yes.
So many others, but I'm honored to say you are too, Sister Jackie.
Oh,
Yes,
well,
yes.
Thank you, Pastor
I
Young.
really am. And to think that you took the time out to come in this little old small area to bless us, I'm truly thankful and grateful to you and to be among you. And you are an encouragement. And I will share the message with everyone I can. You keep
Praise
going.
God. Thank
And
you.
anything you need, you holler at Juniper Tree, and we got you.
Juniper Tree, I'm calling.
Yeah, call us.
Juniper Tree,
Call
and I
us.
have to
Yeah.
tell you,
It
you
will
are
be an honor.
great.
It will be
You
an
are
honor.
great, and where God
Yeah.
is in the midst of us, He said, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, therefore there I am too. You will continue to grow, be
God.
blessed,
Praise
and
God.
be a shining light
Praise God.
in this community, which you already are,
Amen.
and to the world. So
Amen.
continue to
Amen.
let
Thank
your
you,
light
Lord.
shine. I tell you, there's greatness in each and every one of you.
Thank
You,
you.
Pastor Young, you,
Thank you.
Sister Mary, because
Thank you,
that
Connie.
light is God's light.
Amen.
Yes, yes.
And I just tell you, we love you all. And if we could do
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
to support you as well,
Yeah, same here.
we are here. We're
Yes.
going together. Takes a
Now,
village.
Thank
Dr. Jackie Thompson, tell us as closing, how can we get that book?
Okay, so this book is, you can go to the Better Days
Show the
2020.
face again.
Thank you. You can go to the Better Days 2020 website, but I believe you can also order it from Amazon too. But visit Better Days 2020 website because there's a lot of resources there. This book is also used with 4th grade students in our state with the lesson plans that go along with it. So that is exciting. But Better Days 2020, we are thankful for our partners there, to Dr. Catherine Kitterman, who is working with us now as well, and to all of those, Naomi Watkins, and to all. But when you visit the website, you'll see the great things that they are doing. And so I encourage you, go to the website, Better Days 2020,
All right.
and you may order the book. And I'm pretty sure it's at Amazon. You know Amazon has everything.
Oh, yes,
Yes, thank you, Pastor. So, thank you, Sister
Thank you.
Thompson.
Yes.
and
Yes.
Guys are a
Thank you, Mr.
blessing.
Thompson.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for joining us.
Thank you.
You want to close us,
Yes,
Pastor?
thank you so
Yes.
much. Thank you so much.
You're
It's an
welcome.
honor.
It's an
Well,
honor.
thank you, Sister Jackie Thompson. God
Yes.
bless you. We're so glad to have you tune in with us here at the Juniper Tree Podcast, and we'll see you next week. God bless you.
God bless